Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's special webinar event where you're going to learn about the journey to the enterprise cloud. Today's webinar is sponsored by Nutanix and is produced by Actual Tech Media. Just a couple things to talk with you about before you get started hearing about enterprise cloud. I want to introduce you to myself. I'm James Green. I am a partner at Actual Tech Media and a vExpert, and I'm passionate about this technology and this story, so I'm excited to moderate this event today. I want to make sure that for all of you in attendance, you know we want this to be very educational, and to that end, we want to take your questions. There's a questions panel in your GoToWebinar control panel where you can send those in, and unfortunately, we're not going to have a whole lot of time, if any, to do live Q&A today, but don't let that stop you from asking your questions. We are going to collect all of those, and we'll be able to get back to you even if we don't have a chance to address your question live. So as we go, please make sure to submit those questions into the questions panel there. Second thing to bring to your attention is, as I'm sure some of you know, at the end of this webinar, we're going to be awarding a $300 Tango gift card to one lucky attendee. We're going to do a drawing for that for people who are live here on the event. If you're watching this webinar on demand, I'm sorry to say that the drawing has already occurred. But if you're live on the event today, after we wrap up, I'm going to do a drawing for this $300 Tango gift card. So stick around for that. If you do win, you can also donate the value of that gift card to one of our selected charities if you would rather do that. And we've had all kinds of people take that option and given thousands and thousands of dollars to charity. And I love when people choose that. Just wanted you to know that option is there for you. And if you want to take a peek at it, the official prize terms and conditions for this prize drawing can be found at events.actualtechmedia.com. You scroll down to the footer at the bottom, you can read all of those there. So before I introduce you to today's presenter, I just want to give you a sneak peek of what you're going to learn today. You're going to hear about the problem with silos of infrastructure, which we've been hearing a lot about over the last couple of years, and I have personally experienced. I'm sure a lot of you have too. It's creates a lot of inefficiencies, and it's really not something you want happening in your business, and we're going to talk about how to address that. You're also going to hear about the cause and solution for many shadow IT issues. Again, this is something that I've seen lots of, and I'm sure you experienced this as well. We're going to talk about one way to address that. And finally, you're going to see how replatforming IT onto a flexible scale-out architecture can provide the foundation you need for building an enterprise cloud that will serve your business for years to come. So I'm excited to jump into it. I'm going to introduce you to today's presenter, Krish, who is a director of product marketing at Nutanix. And Krish is going to take us through this journey to enterprise cloud. So if you give me just a minute here to switch presenters over to Krish, we'll let him take it away. And one more thing while I'm doing that, just remember to keep in mind that the questions panel is there for you. Submit those as we go, and I'll be watching those, and I'll be back in a bit when Krish is done to draw a prize.
Thank you for joining this webcast. So today I'd like to talk to you about why you need to take the journey to the enterprise cloud and how you can accomplish that journey. So first, I want to highlight what's top of mind for CIOs and CEOs today. There's a lot of conversation around how CEOs are paving the way for digital innovation to augment customer experiences, use digital avenues to create new opportunities and such, as well as expanding their organization's addressable markets. Now, all of this begins to fall back to the technology organization that's looked upon to unlock these opportunities, digitize processes, create new avenues that customers can interact with companies, be it through web tools or smartphone applications and such. So all of this puts a lot of demand and pressure on IT organizations. Now, given these tall demands, it's a lot easier said than done, right? Because we are still operating infrastructure like we have over the last couple of decades. We've got these various silos within the organization that require us to work with multiple vendors to acquire infrastructure, software that sits upon the infrastructure. And once we've done that, painstakingly put it together and integrate it such that it works seamlessly when in production, and when deployed, manage this infrastructure across specialist teams, namely for server, virtualization, networking, and storage and such. And when problems happen, come together in a room to troubleshoot what the problem is, and half the time devolve into blaming other teams for being the root cause for that particular problem. None of these scenarios are enjoyable, right? And it only gets worse when you need to roll out upgrades to various elements of the infrastructure stack, be it the BIOS or the virtualization layer, whatnot, right? That might disrupt the performance of the entire stack and have incompatibilities with other layers of the stack. And before you know it, 3 to 5 years from now, it's time to do it all over again. It is no surprise that this operating model forces us as members of the infrastructure and operations teams to focus on the speeds and feeds. We focus over 80% of our time just upon the infrastructure, when our stakeholders within the business or outside our customers and partners really care only about the 20%, the applications that run upon the infrastructure and that are consumed by them to get their jobs done or consume the services that the company is providing. They have no appreciation for what's under the water level. But we as members of the IT infrastructure and operations teams understand that for those applications to perform 24/7 seamlessly every single second of the day for our customers and for our business partners, you need a solid bedrock that's built upon the infrastructure. So quite often, what we do, the role we play is that of an unsung hero, right? So, and this has been apparent based upon a survey we just conducted across a global audience of IT leaders when asked whether application developers collaborated with them when they needed IT infrastructure. 57% of them said that application developers consistently circumvent IT because IT is perceived as an inhibitor to innovation as opposed to one that fosters innovation. Now, we as members of the IT infrastructure and operations teams are smart, right? We understand that what forces us to stay in the speeds and feeds is the infrastructure itself. So one very viable option is make infrastructure someone else's problem, right? Enter the public cloud. So by doing so, you've basically outsourced infrastructure to a third-party organization, namely the public cloud vendor, and you're able to immediately offer those benefits to your stakeholders, right? They're able to deploy applications. Now there's this perception of less management. You get to pay only by use, so you don't have to commit budgets for a 3 to 5 year cycle. And finally, the infrastructure just keeps getting better and better with the continuous updates that are being pushed and deployed by the cloud vendor. But what we found is applications are beginning to return on premises within the data centers. Based on a survey we've conducted, we found that respondents said that they were 35% consistently over budget with their public cloud spending. And 80% of those respondents are moving over 50% of their applications back on premises. And this trend is not slowing down. It was 81% last year, and it's trending at 85% in 2019. So what's truly needed is this harmonious balance between public cloud and private cloud, where you've got workloads and initiatives that are best suited for public cloud, that are targeted towards your public cloud deployments, and for those more predictable enterprise-grade, business-critical applications that require performance control, the best place to land those applications is in the private cloud environment. And that is where we help customers get those public cloud benefits within the constructs of their private data centers. And we do that by delivering software-driven hyperconverged infrastructure that can be deployed upon infrastructure platforms of our customers' choices, and also enable customers to choose the virtualization layer that they would prefer based upon current skill sets or the natures of the workloads that are being run upon them. So this enables our customers to not just harness the benefits of public cloud within their private data centers, but also choose how they create their cloud experiences within their own data centers. So that is the dual benefit of choosing to use software-defined hyperconverged infrastructure to do that. And you'll find that, based upon the survey that I referred to previously, IT leaders across the world subscribe to this point of view. They want to land about 36% of their workloads on hybrid cloud, a significant number in private cloud, and about a quarter of those workloads within the public cloud. Now, this, while it might seem like a very harmonious solution, it causes other challenges where you've created silos between your environments where they previously existed between layers of the infrastructure. The applications and data are not portable across public, private, and distributed edges. There is different management methodologies across private, public, and distributed edge. So typically, you would find that you have the chief Amazon officer or the chief Azure officer, the CIO that continues to control the private cloud, and this emerging title that we've seen at some of the larger organizations called the chief digital officer that tends to manage more of these IoT and forward-thinking initiatives that address these distributed edge use cases. What's truly needed is to create one fabric of infrastructure that spans across these disparate environments, along with a shared pool of data that can be leveraged irrespective of where the applications need to land or who is building or delivering these applications, and upon which a shared set of services are constantly available to the innovators in your organization so they can very quickly deliver results with their innovations, right? So this is where IT has an opportunity to change the perception of being inhibitors to innovation to one that fosters innovations by really delivering that platform that fosters innovation to the multiple stakeholders within the organization, irrespective of whether they sit at HQ or are building edge applications or IoT applications in Timbuktu, for example, right? So this is where Nutanix has set its vision, to be able to deliver that enterprise cloud platform that is easy to manage and control from one single user interface across these disparate environments, so as to enable IT to deliver against business requirements as opposed to manage the speeds and feeds and the underlying complexity of these infrastructure deployments. So how did we go about doing that? First, the public cloud has done a lot of this at scale, right? So to begin, what we did is we took a good look at what best practices were put in place to enable public cloud architectures, right? And those included by making sure that there were no single points of failure, that it ran on off-the-shelf hardware, that it incorporated self-healing systems that enable the infrastructure to run at scale without an army of IT specialists to manage it, and pervasively adopt machine learning automation capabilities that were able to observe infrastructure performance and take action when possible to ensure that the environment was running without disruption and the applications are running at top performance. And to do this, when you do this, well, you get all those public cloud benefits, the rapid time to market, the ability to pay as you grow, so you can start really small and scale out as your needs and your demands grow, and to be able to capitalize upon one-click operations that enable you to do complex operations with a single click. So what does this look like when you look under the covers? So what we've effectively done with hyperconverged infrastructure delivered by Nutanix is take what you see on the left, the traditional architectures where you've got the compute farms, the storage networks that connect up to the various SANs through the storage controller, the virtualization layer that sits on top of that, finally allowing the applications to be run upon this infrastructure. So we've taken the complexity you see on the left and reduced it to a turnkey software-defined computing platform, right, which is delivered by Nutanix AOS. And what makes this really unique is that you can start small and scale out as your needs grow, non-disruptively. And it also allows you to use the virtualization layer that you would prefer to use on top of Nutanix, or enables you to use the built-in virtualization capabilities, namely AHV, that is delivered by Nutanix. When you go to public cloud, the last question you ask is what the virtualization layer is, and we believe that this should be the experience that you enjoy when you are using a hyperconverged infrastructure-powered private cloud within your own data centers. And what makes this increasingly attractive is that it works with your existing rack configuration and your top of rack switches as well. Now, how did we get this done? So looking under the covers, right, here is what a traditional virtualized environment looks like. You've got your server farms, your hypervisors, your VMs that run on top of it, storage networks and the SANs. So with converging storage solutions, with HCI, what we've done is we've eliminated the need for those SANs and added storage into the nodes that sit within the compute farms, right? And you can choose a variety of storage technologies, be it flash, NVMe, or spinning disks that sit with all these nodes. And once that's done, you virtualize the storage controllers. So in effect, what you've got is one distributed storage pool that spans across the nodes within your cluster that enables you to start small and scale out without limits. Performance only gets better as you scale out. And you can begin to imbibe some of those public cloud practices, which enables you to convert capital expenses to operating expenses by starting based on exactly what you need and using demand and new application workloads as reasons to scale out that environment over time. Secondly, it's got a lot of storage smarts built into the software that enable you to keep data local to those workloads. For example, if you've got an application running on node 1, the data associated with that application is kept in node 1. So what you've done is you've eliminated hops that would otherwise have existed on the storage network, and as a result, you enjoy increased IOPS. Finally, there is no notion of refresh in this mode of operation. You can mix different node types from different hardware generations within a single cluster, and that enables you to continue to add new technologies while still getting the benefits of older technologies that run within this hyperconverged infrastructure-based cluster. Now, the storage capabilities are advanced and meet all of those requirements that enterprises have, right from being able to very smartly tier data between various temperatures of storage that you might have in the node. If data is more hotly accessed, it's kept in the hot tier, namely flash, and if it finds that it is accessed less frequently, it will move the data to spinning disks if you have a hybrid storage environment. Secondly, it has native compression capabilities, deduplication capabilities to give you greater economies on how you use your storage. And finally, it's got RF2, RF3, and erasure coding built into the software that enable you to make sure that you are protected from any data losses. So every time there is data written to a specific node, it keeps copies of that in other nodes as well. So if that node were to go down, or if that disk gets corrupt, those blocks are recreated and data is preserved. It also has you protected from a DER perspective, from a disaster recovery specifically, that's perspective, right? Where it has native capabilities to help you synchronize across environments. So in the case of a failure, you can seamlessly fail over to a secondary site and fail back when your primary site is back up and running. It also has advanced security capabilities by being able to automatically check for security compliances and bring it back to the state, bring it back to compliance as well, right? So, it augments that further by being able to ensure that data at rest is encrypted. So it has support for both software self-encrypting drives, or enables you to use software-defined encryption capabilities along with local key management. Now, in effect, you've been able to, with this, it's not just about consolidating infrastructure, but it's about consolidating operations as well. So with Nutanix hyperconverged infrastructure, what you're able to do is exactly that. You've got one single pane of glass that's delivered through Prism that enables you to very quickly acquire new infrastructure as and when you need it, as your environments need to grow, and add them to your clusters, which is then auto-discovered, and the resources automatically added to the pool, right, both for compute and storage. And when it comes to managing your infrastructure, it gives you end-to-end visibility across your infrastructure, right from the compute, storage, and the virtualization layers, along with the ability to detect anomalies when performance is being impacted. Or if you're looking to optimize your environment by eliminating idle VMs or often VMs, or managing QoS for VMs, bully VMs, or under-provisioned VMs. And fourthly, and almost as importantly, is that it enables you to do one-click upgrades across the infrastructure stack. Those painful processes that go into studying compatibility matrices and ensuring that you've created a right dependency map for upgrades across the infrastructure stack, whether it's at the firmware level or the hypervisor level, you're able to reduce all that into a one-click process right from within Prism. With Prism, you can orchestrate upgrades right from the BIOS up to the hypervisor and any other Nutanix software you have in place with one click. And Nutanix understands the dependencies across all these elements in the infrastructure stack and is able to orchestrate the right order of upgrades for you. Then finally, we spoke about scale, where you can continue to understand the runway of your environment based upon past behavior. So you will be able to get real-time visibility into when you will run out of resources and what you need to do, and in terms of acquiring new infrastructure and software to be able to plan for growth or to add additional workloads to your environment. Now, this is something we've all been proud of, and our customers enjoy the simplicity and the ease of use that hyperconverged infrastructure has been able to deliver within their environments. Here are examples of customers. The first one doing an upgrade from a helicopter using a smartphone, and the second one is another customer doing an update from his Tesla, and the third one is just a Nutanix fan who has a lot of Nutanix swag, right? So I thought it was a fun picture to add in there. So Nutanix has a lot of versatility, right? So it's not a point solution for any specific workload. What it enables you to do is to really achieve that enterprise cloud platform that you need to run a variety of workloads address a variety of use cases within your organization, right from being able to run those enterprise applications or deploy VDI environments built upon Citrix or VMware, or consolidate infrastructure management and operations across multiple sites, including data centers and remote and branch offices, to be able to deliver collaboration and unified communication solutions for your workforce, to address the needs of developers by giving them cloud-native stacks or developer clouds that they can innovate upon and eventually deliver into production upon a Nutanix-powered enterprise cloud environment, to be able to run big data workloads, to exploit large, massive, vast amounts of data and gain intelligence to make better business decisions, and to rely upon the platform to run those mission-critical workloads built upon SAP and Oracle, which have to be resilient and performant 24/7 to keep the business running. And of course, to be able to do all this while you have the power to choose which hardware platforms you want to run the hyperconverged infrastructure software upon, and which virtualization layer you want to put into place based upon skills that you have and the applications that you want to run within your environment. Nutanix has been recognized as the undisputed leader in this area, specifically for hyperconverged infrastructure, by leading analyst firms, namely Gartner, Forrester, and as the leader from a market share perspective by IDC. We also did a TCO study. We commissioned a study with IDC to understand what the implications were of adopting hyperconverged infrastructure by Nutanix. And we found over a reasonable sample of our enterprise customers that they were able to reduce total cost of ownership by over 60%. They had 97% fewer unplanned outages, 3-digit ROI over 5 years, were able to pay back the investments on Nutanix within 7 months, and really be able to contribute to additional streams of revenue within the first year. And you get to do all this while you're partnered with the industry's best support organization. We're spread across 100 countries, have multiple worldwide support centers, and the person who picks up the phone when you have a support case is the one that solves it for you. So all our support engineers are highly trained, have deep experiences and certifications in virtualization and infrastructure technologies, and are in a position to handle a vast variety of issues that you may experience with and outside of your Nutanix environment. And this is what has given us a 90+% NPS score, which is an indicator to whether a customer would recommend Nutanix to his or her friend or colleague. And it is the highest NPS score that we have in the hyperconverged infrastructure space today. So with that, I'd like to thank you for your time.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Krish. Just so everybody knows, I've been in the Q&A answering as many questions as I could while we went. But again, one more time, if you've still got questions, make sure and send those in, and we will collect those and prioritize follow-up on the ones that have not been answered yet. We want to make sure to get your questions answered. Last thing before we go is I need to give away a gift card. So thank you everyone for joining. One special live attendee, Hector Jackson. I'm excited to say you're the winner of a $300 Tango gift card. So we'll be reaching out to you, Hector, to deliver your gift card, or you can opt to donate it to one of our selected charities. Thanks everybody so much for joining us today. If you want to watch this again, the recording is going to be available soon, and we look forward to seeing you on the next webinar. You can go to events.actualtechmedia.com to check out the upcoming schedule and get registered for something else that interests you. Have a great day, everybody.